Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Now this is an unusual way to start the videos because normally I do it outside, you see the intro and then we start mucking around doing whatever it is we're doing. But this particular week it's changed because the weather's changed and so I've had to come back into the studio. Now today we're going to be doing one thing which is really important. We're going to be talking about insects and why we need them. So let's get into that right now. We're going to talk about the importance of insects in the garden, especially the pollinators, and why we should care about them. But first, let's start with a quiz. How many insects do you think there are in the world? 10 million? 100 million? Maybe a billion? Or is it 10 billion? Well, the answer is 10 billion. Yep. There's more than 10 billion insects on Earth, with millions of different species and a combined weight that is 17 times heavier than humans. Now that's a lot of bugs. But why are they so important? Well, one of the main reasons is that they help to pollinate our plants. Pollination is the process of moving pollen from the male part of the flower, the stamen, to the female part of the same or another flower, the stigma. And this helps to bring about fertilization of the ovules in the flower by the male gametes from the pollen grains. Pollination is vital for the reproduction of many plants, including food crops and wild flowers, and insects are the most common pollinators and include the following. We've got bees, wasps, moths, butterflies, flies and also beetles. Basically, without pollination, we would not have many of the fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, and also the spices that we eat on an everyday basis. Pollination also helps to increase crop yields. It enhances genetic diversity but also supports biodiversity. But pollinators and other insects are not only important for plants, they're also important for animals and us humans. Insects provide food for many other creatures such as birds, reptiles, amphibians, fish and also mammals. They also recycle nature's waste by decomposing dead plants and animals and by breaking down organic matter into nutrients that can be used by plants and also other organisms. Insects also perform other ecosystem services such as controlling pests, pollinating flowers, producing honey, silk, wax and other useful substances, and they also inspire new technologies and innovations. So, insects are amazing and essential creatures that play a crucial role in the pollinating plants and supporting the life on Earth. Now let's take a short break for an important message. Hey guys, just a quick break from the video. I've got a question for you. Why is it that we have to pay to eat well or learn? It's quite an interesting proposition when you think about it in more depth. With regards to paying more, if you don't have the money available, and a lot of people don't, or they're really restricted on their incomes, they're forced into buying foods that are ultra processed, which isn't good for them. There's loads of studies out there that show that children, for example, can lose up to 7 centimeters in their height because of that particular type of diet. And if it has an effect on their physical condition, just think what it could have on their mental condition or their intelligence as well. Now, if you want to know more about that, ask me in the comment section down below and I'll let you know the book that I've been reading that tells you all about it in greater depth. Now, I produce all these videos for one reason and one reason only. It's to show people how they can produce their own good quality nutritional food that is dead easy to do and doesn't cost a lot of money to do it. And there's a lot of people out there that want to know how to do these things. And all this content that you see, I do myself. The cameras, sound equipment, the lighting, everything is me on my own. No one holds the camera, no one's a Steven Spielberg around here, as you can probably work out. I do it all on my own and I pay for it all on my own. It's not a huge cost, but I still do so. But it's a free resource for anyone that can't afford to go and pay £200, £300, £400 to learn how to grow fruit and vegetables in a particular style. This is a free resource for people that can't afford to do that thing. Now, they can all look at a YouTube video and hopefully they're looking at mine. If you know somebody in that situation, let them know about it. Share the videos and help them along their way. And even better, what you could do is support the channel by hitting the subscribe button. It costs you absolutely nothing to do. But the trick is, the more subscribers I get to this channel, the more content I can produce. And YouTube perhaps can start paying instead of anybody else. So everyone can keep their £200, £300 or £400 in their pocket and spend it on something that's decent to eat and also learn for free. So what you got to do, please hit the sub button, like it, share it, and then everyone can benefit for free. Let's get back to the video. Thanks. We've got a problem. Insects are also facing multiple and overlapping threats that are causing their populations to decline rapidly and also alarmingly. Some of the main causes of insect decline are things like habitat loss, the use of pesticides, climate change, invasive species, also light pollution, and diseases. For example, in the UK, the flying insect population has declined by 60% in the last 20 years. And globally, insect population is declining by 2.5% per year. This means that we're losing millions of insects every day, and this could have a devastating consequence for our planet. It's quite simple. If we lose the insects, we will lose the pollination. And that's going to affect the production of many crops and also the wildflowers that we need. It also means that we will reduce the availability and diversity of food for humans and also for animals. And also an increase in the risk of food insecurity and also malnutrition. We'll also lose many of the ecosystem services that insects provide, such as recycling that waste. It will be harder to control pests. And there'll be none of those useful substances like honey. That will affect the quality and functioning of the environment. And at the same time increase the cost and difficulty of managing it. We'll also lose the beauty and wonder of insects with their contribution to culture, art and science. So, what can we do to protect and support the pollinators and other insects? Well, there's many things that we can do, both individually and also collectively. And this will help create and maintain insect-friendly habitats in our gardens and also beyond. So here's some practical suggestions that you can try. We can plant native and diverse flowering plants in our gardens, on our balconies or our window box, and provide food and shelter for insects throughout the year. We can choose plants that have different shapes, colours and sizes, and that bloom at different times of the year as well. Avoid plants that have been treated with pesticides or that have double or triple flowers, as they may have less pollen and also nectar. It's important to avoid or minimise the use of pesticides, herbicides and also fungicides in our gardens, as they can harm or kill insects and also other wildlife. If you do need to use them, choose organic or natural alternatives and apply them carefully and also sparingly. We've got a separate video on the channel that gives you a recipe for our insecticidal spray, and we are also working on a new exciting product that is currently being trialled. Details on that when we know, but stay in touch with us by joining the channel here or by signing up to our newsletter. There's going to be a link in the description below. If you're going to use a spray, avoid doing so when the insects are active or when the plants are in flower. It's a good idea to provide water sources for insects, such as a bird bath, a pond, a shallow dish or even a dripping tap. But make sure the water is clean and fresh, and that there are stones, sticks or plants that the insects can use to climb out if they fall in. And change the water regularly to stop the mosquitoes from breeding. You can also create shelters and nesting sites for insects, such as a bug hotel. Or you can provide a bee house, maybe a log pile, or a rockery, and don't forget a hedge. And use materials such as wood, or straw, bamboo, bricks, stones, or leaves and arrange them in different layers and sizes. Locate all of these things in sunny, sheltered and quiet spots in the garden and leave them undisturbed if you can. You might want to decide to join the citizen science projects and conservation initiatives that monitor and protect insects and also their habitats. Or you can participate in surveys, counts and observations and report your findings to researchers and also organisations. Why not support local campaigns or petitions and actions that advocate for insect conservation and awareness? If we follow these tips and suggestions, we can make our gardens more insect friendly and help to reverse the insect decline. We could also encourage our friends and family and our neighbours to do the same and spread the word about the importance of insects and the problems that they face. Let's share this video. By doing so, we can make a difference for the insects and the planet we share with them. After all, we all need them. There's other ways to get structures into our spaces without requiring an awful lot of work, and here's a good example for the insects. I leave a lot of the leaves down from the trees in amongst these herbs we've got here. So we've got some rosemary, oregano, some thyme, etc. And so the leaves that are decomposing in there, which is a deliberate act because obviously we want to keep the soil fed, is a great habitat for a whole host of different insects. Another example that I do here is you can see here I've cut the hedging down after its summer growth, and then what we do is I stack it here. We have a breezy day today, but there you can see that's the cuttings from the hedge and other bits and pieces that we've collected from the shrubs in the garden through the summer and now early autumn. Just literally pile it all up. And again, it's another great habitat for the insects. And that's a great thing to do if you've got the space, obviously. And we've got one other place to show you, which is a result of our biodiversity that we did at the beginning of the year. So we'll go and take a look at that now. And this is the area by the side of the shed or the office where we had some really good growth of wildflowers in here. And I just let this go wild. I don't do anything with it. It's a bit of a rubbish dump as well, I guess, from the building works that we've had, but it's created a fantastic habitat for the insects that we've got in the garden. So obviously during the spring and the summer, this flowers and creates a huge amount of food for the insects, the pollinators in particular. And then as it dies down during the autumn and winter months, you can see it's a great habitat as the things just pop back down into the ground. It's interesting, I'm looking in here. I think the dog's been digging around in there, but old pieces of wood that are rotting down slowly but surely. Great habitat for the insects. And even some old stones that we've got there. Again, they're going to be underneath there. So they'll be back for next year. So there's lots of different ways that we can create these spaces to help our pollinators, in particular our pollinators, because we do need them, as the video's just shown you. So there we go. All you need to know about insects and the importance of having them in our garden spaces and everywhere around the world. If we don't have insects, we don't really have any food, do we? When we look at it that way, it's quite a reality. And now we know what we can do to look after them. So I hope you got something out of that video, and if you did, please share it with anybody else that you think can benefit from it. You saw that message in the middle of the video there, and don't forget, I'll put a link for the newsletter at the bottom of the descriptions there, so you can just click on that and join and stay up to date with what's going on. But for now, take care, and I'll catch up with you very, very soon.